Now, the cost of the worst rainstorm to hit the continental U.S. in its history is growing. This was the scene at a chemical plant near Houston, Texas. After it exploded, power to the facility's cooling system was knocked out by flooding after Tropical Storm Harvey struck the region. One policeman was hospitalised after inhaling fumes. Now, shares of that plant's owner fell sharply after the explosions. Arkema, which is listed in Paris, lost more than 2% of its market value. Earlier, Colonial Pipeline said it has shut down the main artery carrying fuel from the Gulf Coast crude oil refining hub to the East Coast. Colonial is the largest fuel transporter in the U.S. The closure sent U.S. gasoline prices to a two-year high, above $2 a gallon. Oil traders are now desperately trying to fill the demand with fuel from Europe. Reuters estimates that at least $23 billion worth of property has been affected by the flooding. The news agency based its estimate on satellite imagery and property data. Let's get more on this now from New York. Leah Duncan is there and she joins us now. Leah, great to have you with us. Let's talk about the market reaction to Storm Harvey. What are investors telling you about the short to medium term impact the storm's going to have on asset prices?
Thanks so much for having me today. Now, the deadly storm has no doubt brought record flooding to the energy hub of the U.S., paralyzing more than 4 million barrels per day of refining capacity, according to a Reuters estimates there. And as you mentioned, their gas futures hitting a two-year high, trading about $2 a gallon, on concerns over a fuel shortage. Now, that is particularly as we head into the Labor Day holiday weekend, where you typically see a surge in driving. And of course, we have U.S. crude futures, though we're seeing a bit of a pop today, set to close the month of August down roughly 7%, which would be the steepest monthly loss since July 2016. And that's due to weak demand, as many of these refineries just remain offline.
Now, one industry that is going to be very much in the focus of investors is the insurance industry. What is the likely impact on insurance companies from all of this?
Now, we've seen many of these insurance companies, including the likes of Allstate and Assurant, take a hit this week, stocks moving lower. Now, Harvey has mostly caused flooding damage due to heavy rainfall in and around the Houston area. And since private policies usually don't cover flooding, the main source of flood insurance for most Americans is actually the National Flood Insurance Program, which is actually a federal program that sells policies through private companies such as Allstate. As I mentioned, now one analyst over at JP Morgan, an insurance analyst, estimates that insured property losses would be in the range of $10 to $20 billion. Now compare that to Hurricane Katrina, which caused about $25 billion in insured property losses in Louisiana alone. But I would say there are actually companies that, of course, are stand to benefit from this storm, right? Companies that provide building materials. For example, Louisiana Pacific, that stock is moving higher today, as well as those flatbed and transportation and logistics companies such as Landstar Systems. They've all seen their stock prices rise. But I would also talk about the airline industry, because with all the flight cancellations that we've seen, particularly in the wake of this holiday weekend, they are certainly likely to take a hit as well.
Leah Duncan in New York, thank you ever so much.